Hey, what's up, guys? This is Audie from ShastryNation, and today we're going to be talking about cell communication. Alright, so now that you're back from the intro, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I know I didn't release a video last week. I wanted to, make a video last week, but so stuff came about and I couldn't do it. But I should be getting back into the flow of things pretty soon. Um, just this Tuesday is my IOP, and I don't know if you're in IB, you'll know what the IOP is. But it's basically a 15-minute presentation I have to give in front of my classmates. So I'm like studying for that right now, with all the other stuff that's going on. Yeah, I'm gonna make this video. It should be uploaded at the right time, so we're probably gonna be seeing this on Monday. Hopefully, if you watch all my videos the same, when I release them. But if you don't, then hey, it's fine. Whenever you see this, you see this. I'm also trying to work on a video where I try to apply like economics topics into video games. I want to do one of those, and maybe it'll just be like a discussion video, or maybe it'll be like a whiteboard video. I think that would be a lot cooler, but that will take time to make. Those aren't very easy to make, and so hopefully you guys can understand that those aren't easy to make. But yeah, I should be releasing videos pretty steadily now, not once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that. But yeah, okay, so before we waste too much time here, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so cell communication, really what it is just how our cells communicate and how we can, how the millions of cells in our body can actually work together towards a common goal, which is to keep us alive, and working and functioning well. So I don't know. I think of it as I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek, but in Star Trek, you have like the guy who controls the weapons. You have the technology the technology guy who controls like the shield, things like that. You have the foreign relations person that controls like how things like that. I mean, I don't want to get way too much into Star Trek, but you have all these different moving parts that are in Star Trek in the bridge, and then you have like the so the different people would be like the different parts of your body, different organs, things like that. And then the captain that sits in the middle. Sorry, the captain that sits in the middle and then tells everyone what to do would be like your brain, and basically that's how like a human body works, and like the communication between those different parts is how this ship will function. The same thing can be applied here to where our body won't function without every organ communicating and functioning correctly. All right, so there are really three types. Oh, okay, three types of communication. Oh, okay. So yeah, my pen is acting up. I don't know why. Yeah, all right. 1 second. Let me erase that. That's weird. Okay. That's really weird. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, there's really three types of communication. There's APC, which I forget what the that actually signifies. 1 second. I think I remember. It's like physical. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember exactly what um, the each of the letters mean, but they spread out to where it's a word. But all you really need to know is that it's APC, and APC is physical contact. So physical. Oh, okay. So physical contact, and so if you like look at it through a it's like going up to someone and actually talking to them, or like using post-it notes or something like that. So like an example of this, for all of these, really you can just use like real life examples. So like post-it note. That's weird. All right, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting up like this. That's really, really weird. I don't know. Okay, posted. Okay, so post-it note. Okay, so like when you go up to when you post a post-it note or something like that, or you write something on the board, or you go and physically tell someone to do something, or you go and talk to them, things like that. That would be through like physical contact or like face-to-face interaction, and so that's really what APC is. And it's more like cells next to each other can talk and figure out like what they need to be doing, and so like you will see this in like layers of tissue, things like that, or like even like I mentioned before, between two cells that are like of the same type. So like two knee cells or two muscle cells, liver cells, things like that, that'll communicate together towards a common goal. And the whole tissue will it's like it's mainly like all this communication happens in like the different levels of organization. So you have your cell, then you have tissue, then you have organs, you have organ systems, and then you have the whole body. And so this would be happening at like the cellular level of communication. All right, so let me change back to blue, and then we'll go ahead and mention the other one. The other one would be local. I guess some like driver or something changed on the computer. I don't know. That's probably it. That's why it's like doing this. I have to reinstall the drivers for this thing then, I think. Yeah. Or maybe the batteries. No, battery wouldn't cause this. No, I think it is the driver. Okay. Yeah, but I should reinstall the driver and we should be up and ready to go for the next video. All right. Right now it's too late. Okay, so local regulator is going to be like a thing, a signal that's going to be sent among a group of cells. So like not too far apart, it's not going to have as big of a reach. It's only going to really affect like the amount of cells in a certain amount of area. So like an example of this would be like using Gmail. Okay, using Gmail or like yelling. So like yelling. All right. So how Gmail and yelling, like they're the same, because if you like look at it, you're not going to be able to Gmail every single person in the world, or like email every single person in the world, because you don't have all of those emails. And so your reach is only going to be the emails you have, and maybe you might have a pretty exhaustive list of emails. You might have a pretty big list, like you might have a pretty big list, but it's not as significant when compared to the amount of emails in the world. And yelling is probably a better example of this. And so when you yell, some person on the other side of the world won't be able to hear you unless you yell in something, unless you use like Skype or something like that. But if you just went to school and you yelled at the top of your lungs, only the people in your general area and maybe some parts of your school would be able to hear you. And so this would be like a local regulation. And so it's like a cell sending out signals to that certain part of that certain tissue or a certain area that needs to do something differently. All right, so the last one is our hormones. All right, so hormones. Oh, let me get another color. Hormones. Oh man, I don't know. It was working fine like last week. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Really weird. All right. But hormones would be more of like hormones would be like Facebook or like a Twitter post. You know what I mean? So like it's going to reach a lot of people. If you post something on Facebook, it'll reach, your friends, and then the friends of your friends, and then the friends of those friends, and the friends of those friends. Depending on how popular it becomes, things like that. But it can reach basically the whole world if you wanted to, or it could stay in the contained area of your friends. And so hormones are like really you usually think about when you think about cell communication. And so like adrenaline is a hormone. It's gonna the brain is going to release, the adrenal gland is going to release adrenaline or epinephrine or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be released throughout your body, and it's going to affect all of the cells that needed to be affected. So like your stomach cells, your digestive system will be affected. It'll start to contract energy, things like that. And your blood flow will be regulated too. It'll try to contract, heat towards the center of your body, taking it away from the extremities. And then your muscles will start to tense up, and you'll be getting ready for a flight or fight sort of situation, through the use of a hormone. And so that's really what it is. So this would be like I said, like a Facebook post. Or I guess Twitter would work too, or Twitter. Okay. Yeah, that is weird. Okay. Oh yeah, but like a Facebook post or a Twitter post, that would probably be the best explanation for that. Okay, and so now let's move on to the type of signals, or like how signals can actually be like accepted. And now signals are going to be accepted differently in different types of cells, and that's just what it's going to happen. So like you wouldn't want your immune system, no, sorry, not your immune system, but your digestive system to receive adrenaline in the same way as your muscle cells do. And so most different cells will receive those hormones or signals or whatever you're talking about in different ways, and will cause different effects to the common goal of whatever the signal is telling it to do. Okay, and so if you want to, I would go and suggest you to go and watch the gene regulation video I did, and so that'll explain it. The gene regulation video is a really good one. This really doesn't apply exactly to gene regulation. Not all signals will go and directly affect gene regulation, but most will. And so like if insulin will go in, insulin is a sort of like almost a local regulator type chemical, and it's going to affect your cells, and it'll make the cells take in glucose, and it'll make the cells take in glucose and digest it obviously, and make energy, things like that. Okay, so an example, I already mentioned this, but would be epinephrine. And so the epinephrine will, again, like I said, will go and affect different cells in different ways. So muscle cells will start to get tensed up and start, getting ready for a flight or fight response. Your blood vessels will start to contract heat, from the extremities, and get it to your, the center of your body. You'll start to, your eyes will open up, you'll start to be more reactive to stuff. You'll be ready to fight or fight, basically, flight or fight, like run away or fight, whatever is coming up. And, what is really interesting is like, it's really interesting that the human body, or like the brain, still perceives like stage fright and things like that as a flight or fight response. That's why you always have to either use the restroom or something like that when you have like a big speech coming up, or a big like sports performance, or you have to go and like compete or something like that. You'll always have cold hands, cold nose, stomach ache, things like that. And I don't know, I just find it interesting that the human body hasn't, or like the brain hasn't adapted to the fact that we have to we have to talk in front of people, things like that, and that it associates it with a flight or fight response. So basically, like, we are in grave danger for our lives. I don't know, I just find it interesting. I don't know, I'm just weird. Okay, so there are, again, two different types. All of these signals can be like put into different types of signals, and so the endocrine type signals, so endocrine signals, Okay, so I see it's not letting me draw like things like that sideways. That's what's happening. No, that's weird. Okay, so endocrine. So endocrine are hormones that affect things far away. So affect. This is really annoying. Okay. Uh okay, 1 second. Okay, so the effect is far away, meaning like, the so like most of the hormones that are released from our brain are going to be endocrine. And so like um okay, like I'm gonna use the example of epinephrine and adrenaline again. I mean, the adrenal gland is somewhere completely different, and then it goes to every part of the body. So the effect is somewhere else. So you'll have like your hypothalamus or something like that, and that's gonna be affecting different parts of your body, depending on where you need things to be affected. Right. Okay. Um, and then there is paracrine. Ooh. Oh man. Okay, this is really annoying. All right. Okay. Right after this, I'm probably gonna install the driver. I don't know what happened. I thought I had. I mean, it was working fine, like last week or something. Maybe it's just the batteries, man. I don't know, cause like it's. I think it is the batteries. All right, I need to remember to get AAA batteries then. Cool. Okay, so paracrine is all like basically the opposite. It's nearby, so nearby signals, or maybe it's the tip. I don't know. It's probably the driver. There's signal. Because my buttons aren't working. Usually I can. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Okay. So nearby signals. So this would be more like other signals. So this would be if you want to compare it to the three types of signals I said before. Three types of communication. Sorry. You could compare this to like the local regulator or like even physical contact. And so like it's mainly gonna be in a very it's gonna emit a signal and it's only gonna affect certain cells or like nearby cells, things like that. Okay, so some different things that signals can do. As I mentioned before, signals affect different cells in different ways, and so some of the ways that it can affect it is signals can, like I mentioned in the gene regulation video. If you haven't watched that, I would go and watch that. But signals can activate a gene, like can signals. Okay. Signals can. Okay, that was supposed to be a dot. 1 second. That's weird. I don't know. Okay, signals can activate a gene response, or they can activate a response. Sorry, it doesn't have to be genes. My bad. So they can activate a response, or they can also amplify a response. So don't forget that they can also do that. So ugh, man, that's annoying. All right, but I'm almost done with this. So yeah, we're almost done. Okay, so they can either activate a response or amplify a response. Man, my handwriting is bad anyways, and this is making it even worse. Okay. Oh man. All right. Um. So changes in the so there's some illnesses like that I'm also gonna talk about. A lot of illnesses also come from like changes in the signal pathways. Um. And so some of these illnesses are let's see, illnesses. Sorry, I'm just trying to like finish out this video because this is very annoying. All right. So some illnesses are anthrax. Okay, this is like it's almost, I don't know if you've heard of anthrax poisoning, but that's what this is, and it's gonna affect your signaling, like how cells respond to signaling. Now, I do not suggest going unless you have a strong stomach. Okay, don't search this up, all right? Because it's a very like it's very nasty to look at. It's not. It's very sick. It's a very horrible disease to look at. All right, don't search this up. All right, but yes, that it is a signaling problem. Anthrax poisoning, it is. All right. So and then diabetes. Obviously, we've all heard of diabetes. You know. Okay. Okay, that is. Oh, man. Okay. Nope. I don't know why it's not working. That's so weird. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, well, you guys gotta get the point. Okay, so imagine I wrote diabetes here. All right, so all right, so diabetes. We've all heard of diabetes. You know, we might even have a loved one that's suffering from diabetes because it's so widespread nowadays. But diabetes, there are like, I don't know if you guys know, but there are two types of diabetes. There's type 1 and type 2. Now, type 1, it's mainly now anthrax won't be on like AP tests, things like that, but diabetes, well, diabetes is a pretty easy to understand, disease. It's not, I mean, there are complicated parts of the disease, but, for overall grand scheme of things, it's a pretty simple disease to understand. All right, so diabetes type 1, can you imagine that is a Y? Okay. Type 1, the thing with type 1 is, okay, type 1 diabetics, what they'll have is they'll have high blood sugar because the cells aren't there's no insulin being produced by the pancreas, and so there's no oh man, okay. Okay, so there's no insulin being produced, and so because there's no insulin being produced, it's like if you're waiting for a call, but there's no call, and so someone tells you like, hey, don't do this, like don't take out the trash until, or don't go and get your mail, or don't get the package, in front of your house, or like whatever's left by UPS or something like that until you get this phone call, and so you never get the phone call, meaning you'll never do that thing because you don't have the instructions to do it yet, and so you've been told not to do it, and so you won't do it. And so basically that's what's happening here. The cells need to take in the glucose, but they're not, because they're not being told to. And so until a cell is told to do something, they won't do it. It just doesn't happen. It's all chemical. It's not really like, when we think of communication, we think of like telling people to do stuff or talking, but here every single communication happens in chemicals, and so without the chemicals, the responses and activation of genes, things like that, aren't going to happen. And so without insulin, we're not going to take in the glucose from the blood into the cells and actually process it and make ATP and things like that, or whatever we need to out of it. Okay, and so that's type 1. So type, okay, I think I can write, no, okay. Hey, all right, I wrote it. Okay, goody, awesome. Okay, so type 2 diabetes, in my opinion, is way more serious because your body is producing insulin. So it is producing insulin, but the receptors on the cells aren't taking it. And so this is more of like it's a much bigger problem, it's not easy to fix. And so really what doctors will do at this point is they're going to try to increase the the strength of the chemical, and hopefully that works. But if not, they might even have to filter your blood for you, and give it back and then feed it back into your body. And so some people have to deal with that. Some people do have to go in like once a month or something like that, and then have all of their blood run through this machine that'll take out the glucose and then bring it back into their bodies. And so here the insulin, man, all right, insulin is imagine that is an okay, is not being received. All right, so the insulin is not being received. It's not you can't do anything. You can make as much insulin as you want, but it's not being received. So like it's like your friend is trying to call you on the phone, but your phone doesn't work, and so you can't receive his call, and so you won't be able to do what he's going to tell you to do, or something like that, if you think of it like that. So that's basically all for this video. It's not too much stuff to worry about. Cell communication is a pretty important part of our bodies, and it really affects the way we do things like that. Sorry my pen didn't work. I don't know, it's weird. But hopefully I can get that fixed for the next video. And that took a very long compared to what I thought it would take because of the pen. But other than that, yeah. Make sure to click on that subscribe button, things like that. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on the next one.